Hey guys, welcome to Night Moves. Today we're going to focus on bringing a little bit more space into our lats and some lateral flexion with the spine, that's side to side, and a little bit of the hip flexors, but mostly focusing on creating space in the sides of your rib cage, your lats, and all the way down into that space between the bottom rib and the hip. So tonight we're going to start in child's pose. So just nice and easy, your knees as wide or as narrow as you like. Some of us might want to have like a foam roller or something to prop yourself up with if you know that you have a hard time getting your head to the ground in child's pose. So just know that that's always an option. You can rest your head on something if it's too uncomfortable to bring it all the way to the ground. So we're just going to move the hands forward so they're nice and stretched out, and then relax your elbows and relax your head to the ground or to your support. So here in child's pose, we're in some flexion, so we definitely get a stretch in the lower back through the spine. We get some space in the hips, and you're probably feeling a little bit in your knees, maybe even a stretch in the tops of the ankles and through your shins. All of that's really normal. So just do your best to relax and just kind of settle in. And you don't have to do a whole lot beyond that other than start to dial in your breath. So just slow inhales and exhales through your nose. We always want to keep our breath a little bit more deliberate when we're stretching, sending that signal to the central nervous system that even though you might be in a lot of sensation at points, you're okay, you're relaxed, and you're just trying to create some space. So we're here in child's pose for about 5 to 10 breaths. And then what you're going to do from here, and it's going to look different for all of us, but lift your head up a little bit and start to walk your hands over toward the right. And you can go beyond the edge of your mat. You can place your left hand on top of your right and then try to relax your head back down between your arms. And here we have our first side flexion in the spine, so that left side of your body is getting a stretch. So you want to think about kind of breathing a little deeper into the left side. Expand your rib cage, fill your belly up. And then just lift your head up and walk your hands to the left. So maybe to the edge, maybe a little bit beyond. Right hand on top this time. Relax your head down. And now it's the right side that's getting the stretch. So you're kind of actively reaching your hip and your fingertips away from each other. Probably feel it in the shoulder and the upper arm as well as the side body. And then lift your head up and walk your hands back to your mat and lift up into a tabletop position. So we want to set our shoulders up right over the wrists and the knees right under the hips. And then you're going to take your left arm, slide it underneath your mat or underneath your right arm so your shoulder comes to the ground and your left temple comes to the ground. And you're going to rest on your left shoulder and walk your hand all the way forward until it can't anymore. So your right arm is nice and straight. Push your right hip back as you reach through your fingertips, and you'll feel more space start to come into that right side. We get a little bit of rotation, as well as a ton of space in the lat, the ribs, and the shoulder. And then bring your right hand back under you, lift up. And bring your left palm to the ground. So now you're going to take your right arm, slide it underneath of you so your shoulder and your temple come down, and then walk the left hand forward until it's all the way straight in front of you. Press down with your fingertips and move your left hip back a little bit. Just a few breaths, focusing again into the left side of your rib cage, left shoulder, left upper arm. And then bring your left hand back underneath your shoulder, press yourself up. So bring your knees wide again like child's pose, toes together, sit back. Walk your hands ahead of you, and then put your elbows on the ground. Bring your palms together, let your head rest, and then reach your fingertips toward your low back. Slide your elbows forward as far as they'll go. Reach the fingertips back, and you'll feel both sides start to open up together. Think like 3, maybe 5 really deep, expansive breaths into your ribcage here. Trying to create a little bit more space with each cycle of breath. And then relax your hands to the ground, lift yourself up back into that tabletop position, and here we're going to take downward facing dog. So tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, take a couple of breaths first in down dog, just getting that nice easy stretch in your spine. Maybe pedal your feet a little bit if you feel immediate tension in your hamstrings and calves, need a little bit of loosening up in the joints. But still focusing on that side body opening, come back to some stillness in your down dog. So what we're going to do is roll the hips over to the left, and my feet turn as my hips move. And I'm getting that big stretch in the right side again. Just a couple breaths here. Pushing more into the left hand than the right on this one. Then bring your hips back to center and roll them toward the right so your feet kind of spin and you're pushing more into your right hand as that left side opens up. And then come back to your down dog and just kind of walk your hands and your feet toward each other. Find the middle of your mat. Bend your knees. Let your torso hang for a second. Let your head drop. Maybe even grab behind your head here and give yourself a little assistance, pulling your chin in toward your chest. You're going to feel that mostly in the lower back. Just some decompression for your spine. Then release your hands to the ground, and you're going to keep your knees as bent as you need to keep your hands on the ground. Then bend your left knee a little bit more. Maybe your right leg straightens out a little bit more. Take the right arm forward, and then up, overhead. Then if you want, you can bend your elbow and kind of wrap your hand behind you, just bringing that rotation into the upper spine. You can look up if that feels okay. And then if you wrap the arm, release it, arm is straight up, then it's going to come forward and then slowly back down. Right knee bends a little bit more now, left leg straightens out a little bit more, and then you take the left arm forward and then up overhead. And maybe wrap it behind you, maybe look up. So everything has steps, right? You don't have to be all the way here. You can still have your arm straight up. If you did wrap it, release it, reach up, take the arm forward, and then slowly back down. And then just step your feet together, lift your heels up, drop your hips down, tuck your chin in, and just take a couple breaths, rounding your spine, neutralizing. And you can lift your head, plant your hands, and come back into tabletop. So here we're going to take the right foot forward. Bring it out ahead of you, bend your knee, you can scooch the left knee back a little bit if you need. Hands to your thigh, lift yourself up, let the hips kind of move down and forward. And then here we're going to take the left arm up and reach to the right. So immediately you feel a lot of space in the left side in that lateral flexion, all the way through your hip flexor, up to the shoulder. And if you want, you could bend your elbow. You could reach up with your right hand and give yourself a little extra pull. But keep your head neutral, right? We don't want the chin to drop down. We want to keep it up and off the throat. And then we'll let that go. Bring your hands back down. For a moment, just shift your hips back, straighten the leg. And then bend the knee, slide it back, and bring your left foot forward. So again, if you need to scooch that right knee back a little bit, feel free. Those of us with more open hips might need a little bit more space. And then bring your hands to your thigh, lift up, and just let your hips sink forward a little bit. Then we're going to take the right arm up and start to reach over to the left. And your hips might shift a little bit to the right, and that's a good thing. We just want to make sure that we're moving everything kind of together, right? So as we reach, the hips move. And then maybe bend your elbow, grab on, keep your chin away from your throat, and give yourself maybe, just maybe, a little extra space. If you're already feeling a ton of sensation without bending the elbow and holding on, then there's no reason to take it further. And then release it, bring your hands down. Just for a moment, shift the hips back to release the left leg, stretch the low back. And then bend your knee and slide back. So here, we're gonna come to a seat. And for some of us, sitting cross-legged is not comfortable. So if this is not comfortable, then by all means, just come to your shins and sit on your heels. Whatever allows you to not be so focused on your hips. Right hand to the ground. Kind of shrug your shoulder to your ear so you can rest it on there. And then take your left arm, reach up and over. And the way you get more is by bending your right elbow. Deep breaths into the left side ribs. Then take your left hand to your head. Use it for assistance as you start to straighten that right arm and pick your head back up. And then relax it down. Take your left hand out to the side. If you need to walk it further to the side because you're more flexible, then do that. Shrug the shoulder to the ear, rest your ear on it. And then take your right arm up and over. And you can kind of move the hips a little bit if you need. Bend the left elbow to get a little bit more stretch. So your head is supported. And yes, that supporting arm might feel like it's doing some work, but that's okay. Breathe into the right side. Then bring your right hand to your head, straighten your supporting arm, use your hand to lift your head back up, and then relax. You'll probably feel pretty good to circle your head out a couple of times after that. Take it in both directions. See how it feels to drop it back. See how it feels to pull it really close to your chest. And then shift your hips to one side. Swing your legs ahead of you and take your right leg out. Pull your left foot in. Reach your arms up so you already have length. Turn to the right. Fold. Grab your foot or your shin or your calf, whatever you reach. I'm less concerned with your hamstring, more concerned with the left side body. So we just want to get a good reach and then a fold. And just, again, deep breaths into that left side. And release and lift yourself up and just switch legs. So left leg out, right foot in. We want to reach up first, so we're getting all of that lift. Then turn and fold and grab what you can reach. So it's okay if your arms only get to your calf, your shin, your ankle. If you can grab your foot, cool. And then let yourself fold, really focusing on that right side opening. And release and sit up, and we'll take both legs forward. You can bend your knees. There's no rule that says that your legs have to be straight to fold. Again, reach up so you get that lift. Lead with your chest, fold, grab onto whatever you grab onto. Bending your knees will get your feet closer to you. And then we want to round here, so let your head drop. Big breaths into your upper back, your rib cage. Just expanding that whole back, bottom, and sides of your lungs. And release and sit up. And now we're just going to lay down. So as you lay down, bring your feet flat, keep them apart from each other. So think like wider than your hips. Keep your knees apart from each other, and they're both gonna move left, but they stay really far apart. And then this might be enough for a lot of us, and that's cool. You can stay right here, or you can put your left foot on top of your right knee. A lot of us are very familiar with the stretch. The way we keep getting that side stretch is to take your right arm up, and then maybe even bend your elbow. And if you want, you can take your left hand, grab that elbow, and give it a little pull. So as your right knee pushes down, your right arm reaches away, and there's all that space again. And release your arms, release your foot. Rock your knees to center. Go ahead and pull them into your chest to neutralize. Give yourself a squeeze. And then place them back down, feet apart, knees apart. Now they're both going to drop to the right. Maybe your right foot comes on top, maybe not. Left arm is going to reach up. And for a lot of us, that's plenty, but if you need a little more, bend the elbow. Maybe reach up, grab a hold, and give yourself a little extra pull. Typically, one side feels very different from the other. Try not to think about one as being better or worse. Just understand that they're different. And if it's something you need to address, then don't wait, address it. And gently release your arms. Release your foot, rock your knees to center, pull them into your chest, give yourself a squeeze, and then extend your legs forward. So we're just going to keep our hips at center, take your arms over, grab either your left wrist or bend your elbow and grab the elbow, and then pull your torso to the right. You might need to kind of shimmy. Keep your hips where they are and walk your feet to the right, and right away you'll feel it. And again, just a couple breaths. And walk your feet back. Release your hand or your elbow, bring your shoulders back. And then we'll take the arms up. Either grab your right wrist or bend the elbow, catch it. And then start to move your torso toward the left. And then walk your feet to the left. So your hips stay centered. The lower and upper body move, and that's how we get all of that space in the right side. And gently release your wrist or your elbow. Shimmy your shoulders back to center, walk your feet back to center, and then slowly pull your knees into your chest. Give yourself a big squeeze. Wrap up tight, pull your forehead in, feel all of that space you just created. And then just relax for a second, lay down on your back, let everything just kind of let go so that your body has a second to neutralize and really take it all in. And after a few breaths or a minute or two laying down, just take your time, right? You just spent all this time stretching, opening up some space, so when you get out, you want to move nice and slow. Maybe bend your knees and just kind of roll to one side, and then gently press yourself up. And you're good to go. Hopefully you feel a couple inches taller from creating all of that space in your sides, your low back, and really opening up some of that tightness that we get in the lats from everything that we do. Good job.